Hey there, you doers. Today I want to talk to you about repairing your dryer if one day you come down your dryer's not heating up. And I have an electric dryer, and here you can see the heating element that my electric dryer has. Essentially, there is a heating element in there. I'm not sure you can see it, but I removed it from the bottom of my dryer, and it is simply in the dryer like this. And I'm not going to put it back in, but when you open up, you'll see your heating element there, and you just basically screw it from the base. And there's a shield here, and I've already disassembled it. That goes on like this. That basically, blocks the heat a bit, but allows air intake in there. So the way the dryer works fundamentally is air goes through here and passes back there into it goes through like a hole or funnel where it attaches to, and then the air goes into the back of your dryer back here, comes out there, and then vents through this filter right here. So the air goes in here and then comes down here and gets pushed out to your to outside through your through your duct system that you have set up. There's a fan behind here that spins, and that's what sucks the air in. So essentially, it's basically the air comes in here, gets heated up. So when the heat stops working, it can be a number of things. There are a number of different kind of fuses. There's a couple thermal fuses actually, and a thermistor in this area here. I'm not going to show you them, but those can go bad because there's a lot of protection with your dryer in terms of heat. But the ones that I've experienced that go out, the one that goes out the most regularly is, in fact, this thermal cutoff goes out. This is a thermal cutoff and a high limit thermostat that are on your heating element. So basically what happens is it goes the electricity goes through here, and to the heating element, and then comes back out. So this this thermal cutoff, which I have another video on, is a one-time thing. So if it exceeds a certain temperature, it will basically cut off. There's a little metal disc in there that I think changes shape, and it stops the circuit. So that's a safety. And then this high limit thermostat, I believe, cuts in and off depending on the temperature. But from my experience, the main thing that happens when I don't have heat is that this guy right here has popped. However, in this case, what happened was something that was a little different. But what happened here is when I opened up the dryer and I looked underneath, what was happening was this. This was wired to the heating element, and basically burnt out, and it detached, of course, and that breaks the circuit. Now, what causes that? I'm not an expert electrician, but what I think happened is that, again, this connection becomes poor for whatever reason, and then there's heat buildup. So it creates a natural resistance, and heat builds up, and then it causes the casing to melt, and just causes whole breakdown of the connection. This was connected like this here. This female connector right here was on here, that broke off. This connector was attached right there like that to the heating element. So this is how it was wired. So eventually what happened was this portion broke off. That broke the connection. So That could have been due to this poor, I've read that could be due to the way this is linked in here. Like this, it's clipped on there not well. Like it's maybe a poor connection, so that there's like a natural resistance causes it to heat up and then causing it to then fail further. I also think, again, I'm not an expert, that moisture causes a problem, causing the wiring to rust and then causing further resistance and heating of the wire. So anyways, in this video, I have to replace this wire, and then I'll be back in business and I'll have heat again. So let me go through that. So just a reminder, whenever you work on your dryer, make sure you turn off the breaker and turn off your dryer and unplug it. I know that sounds like a lot, but my dryer is 220 volts. Even at 110, I wouldn't want to mess with this. Safety first, always. All right, now I'm going to take this upstairs. And so now what I have to do, I'm going to show you in this video, is I have to fix this. Online, I looked up heating element parts or wires for a dryer, and I bought a package of these. It's a little tight, so I'm going to get rid of this. This is no good to me. It's too damaged. This wire's really stiff. I don't know why, so I'm not going to use this. So here you can see this is the wire that was burnt out, that was connected. This was connected to the high limit thermostat. This turns on and off based on the temperature, and this was connected like this to the high limit thermostat, attached to the heating element case, and then this end connected to one side of the heating element connector. This was what was connected to the heating element itself, the connector. This is the female connector that was attached here, and as you can see, what happened was it overheated. There was some sort of resistance that occurred here, right here, and it caused the surrounding material to melt away and then cause this to break. Now, how did that happen? From my reading, I've read that sometimes what happens is connection is not very good, and so not all the electricity that's passing through is able to get through and creates kind of a natural resistance. I think what possibly adds to this problem is there's a lot of moisture in the dryer, underneath the dryer, and I think when sometimes the wiring is exposed, it starts to corrode, and I think, that's just my personal thought, is that it creates even more resistance. So like a vicious cycle, as it starts breaking down, it becomes more difficult for the electric current to pass through. It starts creating like a natural resistance, a resistor, and it starts heating up the wire, which then causes the casing to start melting. And as you can see, that's not a good scene here. So what happens when this broke off, it broke the circuit so that the heating element stopped working. So how did I fix this? Well, what I did was I looked for a replacement wire. So this is a high temperature wire. This is a 12 gauge wire, I believe. And on the other piece of wiring that I have, it's at 105 degrees Celsius. So I went looking for high temperature wire, and I could not find anything in particular that was high temperature for dryers. And the other problem and challenge is the female attachment connector that connects to the heating element itself is not the same size as the attachment that connects to these the high limit thermostat or the thermal cutoff. Right, and so if you see here, here's the width here of those items right here. As you can see, this connector here, this is the female connector that attaches to the heating element itself. It is much wider, right? And this would connect to it. just be a little loose, but this is much wider. So here is the connector to a that connects to the high limit thermostat or to the thermal cutoff. If I try to pull this off here, actually I can't, it's kind of tight. So you can see that this is much wider, right? So this one is much wider. Now I looked and looked for a connector like this, and I could not find it at the hardware store. I went to a number of hardware stores. So I spent a lot of time looking for it, kind of wasted my time. As you can see here on this connector, I have this yellow covered connector here, female connector. This is a 10 to 12 gauge connector with, and this is also has a 105 degree Celsius rating for the insulation. So this matches what is on the one of my other wires that shows that's a high heat 105 degrees Celsius wire. This one I can't find the markings on it. So this is 12 to 10 gauge, I believe. I have another one here that's 16 to 14 gauge, and you can see here this is also rated for 105 degrees Celsius. I've seen other ones in the stores that I think were 12 to 10, but they were only like 75 degrees Celsius. But I found these ones at Home Depot. So let me show you what I did was I ended up searching for heating element wire for dryer. Came upon this online. If I get a chance, I'll add the link to the in the details section. As you can see, this connector has the proper size connector. So I'm glad I found it. I didn't have to waste any more time trying to find this. I don't think I would have been able to find this unless I went to a specialty appliance store, maybe. The gauge wire appears to be the same thickness as well. I can't read the small fine print here, but it feels like just as durable, very thick wire here. You just have to pull this tip off. So what I did was this comes with two of these, and it comes with these connectors here. So if you're able to like splice the old wire with a new wire, you could connect them together with these locking nuts, or these which help connect the wires together. And sometimes you need this for, there's one wire that comes directly from the washing machine, from the dryer, excuse me, a wire that comes from the dryer that you if that one broke, you just connect it to the actual wire that comes from the dryer itself, and then plugged it in there. But in my case, I was going from this high limit thermostat like this to the heating element, right? So I was connecting like this to the heating element. So I needed to fix this to connect here like this. So one of the challenges is that this is not a long piece of wire. Wish it was slightly longer. So I could either have spliced the two pieces together, cut this tip off on one end, and added this connector. But what I ended up doing, and lucky it worked, is I simply took this, and they've already conveniently cut this point here, so I don't have to use my own strippers to do that. So I would use the 12 here, and I would put this in here like this, and then pull it out. But I don't actually have to break free, but I can just pull this out like this, use the 12 gauge, and then I could just pull it out. So that I'm going to do that here just to show you. So it comes out like that, but it was convenient. I probably could have pulled it out by hand. Then what I did was I took one of these female disconnects right here, if you want to look up close what I bought. Got those at the Depot, Home Depot. So here you can see that it has a little tube in there, metal tube, and there's the connector, a female connector. So now I'm just going to take, what I did was I took this, the wire itself, put it into the female connector, right like this. Okay, and then it passes through, pretty much through. Just line it up so it works well in terms of how you would want it connecting to here. So if you want to connect it to here, for example, and it's going to twist, you just angle it so it works best. So when you're actually working with your heating element, make sure you don't have to twist this too much, right? So I'm just rotating like this before it gets crimped in there. And now that I have it, what I find is these crimping tools, before I used to use like pliers, doesn't work the same way because pliers are just flat, right? Pliers are just flat. But this crimping tool it's color coded which one to use for what size of connector to crimp. And I just take this, and it's just 10 to 12. As you can see, it's yellow. And you see this blue is 16 to 14, which matches this blue. So there's all the color coding, which is what I love about electricity and electricians, is they have everything color coded. So then you just take this, like here, squeeze it hard, take it out, and it's crimped in there. See that? And then if you can also crimp it some more, you can see it's crimped in there, and then you just connect it. So when I was connecting this, because it's so short, I had to bend this so that it was as straight as possible. As opposed to doing this, I had to make it a little more like this. Okay, but it worked. It ended up connecting well from my high limit thermostat to my heating element. So I'm going to put this in here. So this will not fit in here because this is the smaller one. This will fit in here like this. But I'm going to put this inside in first because it's harder to get this one on. So I'm going to push this on here like this. Best I can. There you go. It's a little tight. Then I gotta mess with this here. See, it doesn't exactly fit, so I'm gonna have to really spin this tight. Hopefully it won't cause any damage. I hope this works because it'll save me a lot of time. Maybe I need to lift this up a little more, give it more slack. There we go. Look at that. There we go. So that's tight. Okay, so next I want to take this, I might have to use pliers, but there you go. So now I got this connection. I got this connection here. This is kind of rusty, this guy. I don't know what's going on with it, but I'm going to tighten that up. I want to show you that now the circuit's completed. So I'm going to take my ohm, set switches to ohms, and I'm going to connect it here. The one end on the thermal cutoff and the other end on this side of the heating element connection. So circuit would go like through here from the thermal cutoff to the high limit thermostat to the heating element, through the heating element wiring, then to this the output or the input of the heating element back to the dryer. So let me connect these together. Hopefully you can see my ohm meter. See if it works here. There you go. So we have a complete connection through. Again, anytime that one of these safeties breaks off, so if this thermal cutoff here gets disconnected, then we would lose the connection. And now when I plug it back in and I connect the wiring from the dryer here and then back to the dryer here, it will go through the heating element right here. It should light up. If it doesn't, then it's either it could be another thermal fuse or thermistor, but I highly doubt it that it's one of the thermal fuses or the thermistor. I think it was most obviously this. All right, you doers, be safe. Remember, always disconnect and the dryer. Turn off the breaker. Mark the breaker to make sure people don't turn it back on. Tag it out, lock it out, whatever you need to do, and be safe when whatever you do. Please like and subscribe. Please like this video. Please subscribe. And if you have not watched my video on these thermal cutoffs where they keep breaking on you, please take a look at that, because it may be your issue, again, having to do with the wire not the heat not flowing, the electricity not flowing properly. All right, you doers, be safe. Let's get things done.